Linjani lonke mwagaita wani. This is Priest Teacher Rabbi LM Tumizulu of Hamiti Hebrew Ethics. Dubai is a very small city of a small country of United Arab Emirates. It doesn't have even one gold mine, but nevertheless it trades approximately 400 tons of gold each year. So Africa, which is a major source of all the gold, has its citizens marrying in poverty, squalor, and confusion. What is the problem? How can we solve this, and how can we understand this? Africa, buy gold, don't sell it. You must quickly own some gold if you are an African and you want to break the cycle of poverty. Why must you own some gold, even the smallest amount of grams? Why should Africa never sell its gold? Let us deal with the issue of wealth first. Wealth is the abundance of valuable resources or valuable materials, either natural or mentally, one that you have thought of and crafted. Plans, strategies, and tactics. Prosperity is the state of your mind that is flourishing and that is thriving. It can be based on good fortune, on successful social status that you have acquired, cars, money, gold, real estate, but also it includes other factors that can be independent of these material things. These would be issues like health and happiness, as well as longevity. This is very critical, and this is what is lacking in Africa. Not that Africa is poor, but they tell you, they say it clearly. Africa is the least developed continent in the world, having 34 of the 49 poorest countries, yet it is the richest of all. Whilst we have so-called educated African leaders, what is the problem? The problem originates in the scramble of Africa, the Berlin Conference. African poverty is a well-calculated ploy. Other races have hatched plans to exploit us. That is why they cannot leave Africa alone. Why can't they just not leave Africa? The Chinese are coming, the Europeans are there, the French, the Indians. Why can't they just go back to their continents and leave black people alone in Africa? So all we need today for us to break out of this jinx is a plan. We share aspects of the plans here, but these aspects of the plans can be adopted by individuals in Africa and on earth everywhere. Why is Africa, with abundance of natural resources, specifically gold, continue to have the poorest majority of citizens? Because in 1884, to avoid conflict amongst themselves, European leaders met in Berlin, in a place called Berlin Conference, to set up rules for colonizing Africa. Also rules to continue to rule Africa, which are now being continued and implemented by every African government. No Africans were invited at that place. So today, when you boast and call yourself by these nationalities, you are just perpetuating the Berlin Conference edicts. Remove those borders out of your head. Millions want to know this. Millions, they don't know. Before we answer, let's be emphatic. Africa must buy gold instead of selling gold. And in our individual capacity, we must own gold. And these borders, our ancestors were not engaged or involved. Let's be personal. If you are an African, you must make your own personalized charm with pure alluvial gold. 24 carats, which is about 99.5% pure gold or above, that will be good. Or 24 karat gold that contains 24 parts pure gold. There are rituals that are involved, and you must also understand the legal situation and legal position of your country where you live. You can read more about gold buying from this website that we are indicating and the values of gold. This is a very precious metal. Now it becomes even more strange when you ask, where does gold originate? Many will say from the ground. But that could be wrong. And how does it actually form in nature? Let's look a little bit at the English word gold. Because this word comes from the color of the metal, which is yellow, which is giole. So gold is the noblest of metals, has been used by men for more than 5,000 years. Gold derives its name from the Old English, Anglo-Saxon word giolo, meaning yellow. The symbol of gold, chemical symbol, AR, comes from arum, meaning glowing dawn. So you see, it is cosmically connected, and it is connected with the awakening and with an energy of rising up, which we are showing here. You can read more from these slides that we are indicating on this. There is gold today. Where does it come from? How is it formed? The answer should be shocking to many, for gold is not formed on the earth like diamonds iron, and other minerals or other gems. Instead, most scientists today have kept this secret from many, and they know that gold actually came to the earth from outer space in large meteorites that have struck the planet over billions of years ago in specific places. In fact, most of the gold on earth is actually located in its core, on the core center of the earth, where it is heavy, and there are properties there that made it sink over time when the earth was molten in water. The gold that is found near the surface comes from relatively recent strikes of meteors that contained a considerable amount of gold. Gold can only be found in certain areas, which we are showing here, but largely you can see is found in Africa. A lot. Look at that. Africa dropped the scepter because you look at these images, you see that we were, throughout history, every planet, every place that we conquered, we used gold as the symbol of power, beauty, purity, and accomplishment. Today we continue to use gold for almost other objects like wedding rings, Olympic medals, Oscars, Grammys, money, crucifixes, and ecclesiastical art. No other substance of the same rarity holds a more visible and prominent place in our society. What about you? Do you revere it with this intensity? If not, why? There is our ancestors in ancient times using gold in burial rituals, and the tombs such as Sabeku Hutupo depict Nubians using gold as tribute to their ancestors. There, they are using it to their ancestors. There, clear, straightforward, and leopard skin, and gold, and the honey, and all this chinu. You know what is called chinu? There it is. You know, bread. There are Africans using it for those rituals. Also, gold is a source of economic wealth for nations and for individuals. This shows you the power of gold, that it does not suffer from inflation. You can see how its value since December in 2018 to January, see how it was rising, and see how it is stable at $1,280 an ounce. That's gold. Because gold is highly valuable and it is very limited in supply, it has long been used as a medium of exchange, a very stable one. And those that have gold are the blessed and the wealthiest. In the same vein, individuals who understand this metal are in a position to be very stable financially. I deal with this aspect in my WhatsApp group, where those who are interested in it engage in various experiments that involves gold. What about its uses? These are many of its uses. The specific uses is for divinity, which our ancestors demonstrated. This is Tutu Ankoma. And this is what you should have when you are buried. You should be painted like that with gold dust. That's powerful, what I've just said. So gold is used also for radiation protection. A thin layer of gold is applied to the suits of astronauts, those that go into space, those that deal with radiation, and they are protected. It can also be used in medicine. Gold can be converted into compounds such as gold sodium thiomate, and used to reduce pain and inflammation from rheumatoid arthritis. It is also used as a diffuser in aeroplanes and planes and jets and windshields of jets, where an electric current flows through to de-ice at high altitudes. It is also used in clothing, can also be used as data storage. Blank gold CDs as well as other aluminum CDs are available for audio files to make high quality recordings that will last for centuries. That's gold. It can also be used to manage your weight. But that's not all. We have been mining gold for thousands and thousands of years. Where has that gold gone? You can see there, that's one greatest use of gold. Critical history that you should understand concerning gold. This book, Blacks and Science Volume 2 by Robin Walker, clearly talks about the ancientness of gold mining in Africa, in Zimbabwe. And these are scientists, African scientists, who discovered almost all the laws that are being rediscovered today and being publicized under names of various people. Southern Africa. Archaeologists beginning in 1902 began the rediscovery of Southern African gold mining in and around the Great Zimbabwe region. They found thousands of gold mines dug to astonishing depths of 150 feet. The archaeologists estimated that Southern Africans dug 43,250,000 tons of ore. According to Professor Finch, this produces 700 tons of pure gold, which equals 7.5 billion at 1998 gold prices. One historian wrote, the bygone miners must have been industrious beyond belief, since they worked in rocks so obdurate that the same sort of reef is nowadays blasted with dynamite, and yet they removed many millions tons of ore. It is a practical testimony to their skill that modern engineers follow to this day the lines of these ancient workings. See that clearly straightforward. So gold was used to make ornaments, jewelry, and plate objects. There is a plate that was made with gold that Cecil John Rhodes is reputed to have taken. All the goldsmith's art was practiced there, including gold wire drawing, beating gold into thin sheets, plating iron and bronze with gold, and banishing. Gold thread was woven into cloth, and gold chain links were produced in Africa, in Zimbabwe. This used to happen straightforward, clearly. The richest people must therefore have been Africans. Because of the abundance of gold in Africa, each African must be a gold owner. But now we are denied by black leaders to own it. Why? We shall look at this aspect. Let's consider one international aspect first. They abandoned the gold standard for specific reasons. The master player in this is the Federal Reserve. It comprises of individuals. We have a video that deals with that. These individuals flood the markets and countries with the capital, so-called money, which is the money they produce or print from the printing machine. So, moreover, we move to the natural and unnatural currency now, because the executive order of the president issued in April 5, 1933 demanded that all persons were required to deliver on or before May 1, 1933 all gold coins, gold bullion, and gold certificates now owned by them to the Federal Reserve. This law has been passed on all over the earth, including in Zimbabwe, this executive order. So when you are arrested in Zimbabwe for possessing gold, or in an African country for possessing gold, it is because they are using an American law, which is not an African law. The history of international monetary system tells us that the United States had a problem with its finances because they didn't have gold, a lot of it. In 1971, due to incessant balance of payment deficit, the United States abolished the gold standard, and the lack of confidence placed on it meant that in 1973, the Bretton Woods system collapsed. Deliberately, it was collapsed for the purpose of removing gold, because African countries were the only ones with a lot of gold. What is the gold standard? It is the monetary system that directly links currency's value to that of gold. A country on the gold standard cannot increase the amount of money in circulation without also increasing its gold. So this prevents consumer price index inflation, best inflation. You can see that since August 15, 1971, inflation in the whole world, specifically in America, shot right up. In 1974, it went down a little bit, but then from 1980, it has been very high. Because of that, because of what Richard Nixon did in 1971 when he removed the gold standard. He did it deliberately to destroy predictability in international trade and finance, which was also based on African countries, which were rich and countries with gold. So the British South African police and its law, which is still operating in Zimbabwe, after 39 years of independence, proves that United States legislation is experienced in Africa. Here in Zimbabwe, 39 years after independence, it still has the Precious Stones Trade Act and the Gold Act, in which if you are caught with gold, you are mandatory sentencing and jail imprisonment and heavy fines, that you must have a license. Why should we have a license to possess a mineral that divine power gave us? Why? It's because of the fiat money or Federal Reserve banking system that was instituted by the United States on earth and being adopted by African governments. They removed the gold standard so they can take the real gold using the money they print from the printing machines. This is clear, it's straightforward. Fiat money is money that the government guarantees as legal tender. It is their money, it is not natural money. Whereas commodity money, which is based on gold, limits what you can do with that money, because it is based on productivity as well as based on natural availability of gold. In conclusion, therefore, we can see that our ancestors used gold as burial vehicle for a specific reason, which we have given. Do you know that gold is used to adorn the body and other rituals, which by doing them attract wealth and blessings and health? Do you realize that Africa is the richest continent on earth if we use gold? In fact, the Africans in ancient Egypt called gold the breath of God. Our ancestors in ancient times never dug out a lot of gold without specific parallel activities held by planting a specific tree that would attract gold from the atmosphere right into the ground. Do you know gold is edible? There are people that have that technology. And if you eat it, there is something that happens with your self and immortality. But you must ritualize it. You must buy gold. You must be buried with gold. This is what we are teaching here at Hamiti Hebrew Ethics. Therefore, Africa must never sell gold, but keep it and buy even more. It is a very serious lesson with many, many other things to come. Thank you very much. Subscribe to our channel, Hamiti Hebrew Ethics. This is Priest Rabbi LM Tumisulu. You can contact us on our email indicated here, and also visit our website on livespiritofamen.com. Thank you. Goodbye.